In the heart of Nigeria's oil-rich Niger Delta, a problem has been burning for decades. Gas flaring, the practice of burning off excess natural gas during oil production, has become a contentious issue. Today on Carbon Footprints, we would explore the environmental, economic, and social impacts of gas flaring in Nigeria. I am Edidiong Ibanga. Let's journey together. Gas flaring is a byproduct of oil production. When oil is extracted, associated gas is released. Instead of capturing and utilizing these gas, many oil companies simply burn it off.
By the Petroleum Industrial Act stipulates that the operators should now submit report to the government of the day, to the regulators, how much gas that has been emitted. What does that tell you? That we are serious? Certainly not. So that's the first. Now, the second is related to the first one that I've just mentioned now. Now, how do you assess, how do you quantify what has been emitted? Now, the regulators, the governmental agencies, authorities, and the rest, do not have the technological know-how, what it takes to monitor these emissions. Do they? The answer is no. And you are telling me, oh yeah, just bring it. What would you bring? I won't bring. And of course, the law now tells the minister to tell them, bring. And they will not bring. What will you do? Nothing. Now, don't also take away the Nigerianness. And what do I mean by that? Corruptive influences. It is not only in government, it's also in the oil sector. They know, we know, both the operators, the licensees, and all of them, that if the government is serious in tackling this, one of the basic things they need to do away with is that corruption. Now, how comes government has never sanctioned an operator in this regard? Okay, for example, the law stipulates within 12 months, you have to submit this report. And remember, the Petroleum Regulatory Act of 2021 now came into operation in 2022, and we are in 2025, isn't it? How many have you seen? Who has submitted what? Even when they submit, are they accurate? Are there measures to find out whether those reports submitted are true or not? These are major challenges. The list goes on and on and on.
According to the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, NOSTRA, Nigeria flared 216.5 billion standard cubic feet of gas in 11 months, emitting 11.5 million tons of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, which contributes to climate change and environmental degradation. Speaking with Mr. Botti Isaac, Programs Coordinator of Social Development Integrated Center, he said the country needs to tackle gas flaring to avoid natural disasters, such as excessive rainfalls, flooding, and heat waves due to climate change.
Issue with rainfall. If you have been following NIMNET in the recent times, they've been warning that there's going to be flood, there's going to be excessive rainfall, and we are seeing that in Lagos currently. Flood is overrunning everywhere. That was the effect of climate change. Don't forget, gas flaring contributes to it. So the more gases we are flaring, the weaker the ozone layer that covers our atmosphere become weaker, the higher risk to what is it called? Thunders, storms, and terrible rainfalls will be. So that is one long-term effect. If we do not control that, Nigeria will continue to experience in fact, it's not going to be perennial again. It's going to be like everyday disaster, natural disasters in form of rainfall, either excessive heat, and all forms of natural disasters that are associated with climate change. And then again, currently, deserts has encroached 90% of the north central land. Agricultural products are not flourishing again. So long-term effect is that we are going to be out of agricultural products shortly. So there will be food insecurity. There will be famine at some point because of desert encroachment. And we'll be exposed again. So beyond rainfall, where the government also continue to cut down trees that are meant to serve as windbreakers in the event of every windstorms and all of that, it's going to mean that will happen. We are going to begin to experience all these nonsense names, Ellen Hurricane, what have you, this, clone that, at some point. This is going to be, and in general, in terms of the social assistance of the people, it's going to reduce life expectancy significantly. Currently, what is the average life expectancy in Nigeria? 45. So meaning that at 45, somebody is preparing to die. So if care is not taken to address that challenge, the implication again is that it will drop further because one, quality of life itself has dropped. People are not able to feed. People do not have access to qualitative healthcare services. So combined with the social impact of climate change, death is around the corner for everybody. So if somebody lives 30 years now, is considered old in Nigeria, or will be considered old in Nigeria at some point, government need to look at those long-term impacts. And the continuous dropping of quality of life is something that Nigerian government should be worried about. Standard of living, access to basic amenities that can cushion the effect of climate change should not be compromised.
The environmental impacts of gas flaring are severe. The burning of gas releases toxic chemicals into the air, contaminating water sources and soil. In the Uchenna community, the story is the same. What was once a coastal settlement is now scarred by the consequences of decades of oil exploration, roofs corroded by acid rain, farmlands turning barren with fishing nets damaged, all linked to frequent oil spills and persistent gas flaring activities operating near residential areas.
If you buy a new thing now and put it on the roof, because of the flare, the thing will not last. After 1 or 2 years, you see that thing becoming old or rotten. All those things happen. And the oil company refused to pay compensation so that the fishermen and the farmers could use to repair their house, renovate, buy fishing accessories, and continue.
Abiaro for me. Affecting one saying in it all. Betom bomb body rice of ke. Kaisong. No so on ye panga. You walk ira. If no pussy, young wrong gang go say, make it care through come ama pangama. Yakanye our cot.
The net where this thing spoil. All this one. All our net where we use fishery. all this one. You see and where the oil, they spoil.
What really brought this attack? They said Ibno is a tenant, that they should leave their land. And plus this Udom remapping. They now say that yes, the Udom has confirmed that the new map has been drawn, that even here you are sitting down here, this beach, they claim that it's own, they own it, that we should. So the matter is in the court as I'm talking to you. They will come in the night like a thief, as Bible said in the thief, that the thief will come in the night to steal and to destroy. They will just come and destroy properties, burn houses. So we have been also waiting patiently for court.
First thing I want government to do now, pull back by way of remediation, by way of revisiting back, by way of putting back what has been lost to the environment. Has it not taken years, if not decades? Even when there are government and judgments of court, are we talking about the Ogoni aspect? Has the Ogoni environment been cleared despite the chunk of billions of dollars that have been budgeted for that purpose? Has anything happened to that? No. They should plug these things there. That's one. Two, how about the issue of the local communities? You also know what I'm talking about. Just see the infrastructures that we have in Abuja. Are they not entitled to same too? The schools, the roads, and don't forget, because of these flaring exercises and the pollution, the soil texture has gone bad. Now, the implication of that is that if it takes 1 billion naira to construct a road in Abuja, it means because of that degradation there, you know what it means? It means it will take not less than 1.5 or 2 billion to do same down there, because the soil have been degraded. They need to put these things in place. Now, they also need to, now the local communities create these employment options, create these job opportunities for these ones, so that they too will feel that they are part of the system. Now imagine at your background, at your backyard, what sustains the entire country comes out, or you are hungry. Is that not appalling? That is highly appalling. It shouldn't be so. Let these people have that same sense of belonging. Yeah, this thing comes from our own backyard. And then let's also enjoy that. We also understand government is trying the 13% derivations and the rest of them. But are they enough?
So when rain falls, it's methane in the atmosphere mixed with the rainwater, and once it touches ground, destroys plants and animals. These are climate change situations. And when you also look at the rate at which excessive heat ravage the world, you understand that carbon emission is a major challenge or major contributor to climate change. And that is why the Western world is being accused as the biggest polluter, because of the level of industrialization they have and the continuous emission of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere, both from vehicles, from plants, and other things. So climate change is a big issue globally, but it affects countries in different ways. So in Nigeria, how is it affecting us? It's affecting us by both contributing to increasing the proliferation of ecological crises like droughts, flooding in some areas, excessive heat waves, and desertification, for example, in the north central and all of that. So these are the areas through which climate change is impacting Nigeria. It manifests in the forms of ecological crisis, and that is on one hand. On the other hand, it also manifests in socio-economic losses that people are experiencing, or people experience as a result of, for instance, the gas flaring of a thing. So if you've been to the Niger Delta and you've gone close to gas flaring plants, you will understand what we're saying. For instance, in several communities where gases are being flared, or the way we have gas flaring plants, all their streams of waters have dried up because of the heat. So what you see now are parched grounds. And then, if you also ask further, the noise from gas flaring pine is deafening, and that has resulted to impediment for the people of that area. It has impaired their hearing. They struggle to hear. So every time their ears are making noises, and that's just one of it. And then in terms of the acid rainfall, it has destroyed their means of livelihood. Agricultural produce no longer thrives, because instead of rain to support the growth of plants, the chemical substance that has gotten mixed into it continues to destroy the survival of those plants. So those people are gradually being economically displaced, losing their means of livelihoods. Fishermen are no longer able to fish because their waters are drying up. And worst of it is that it has resulted, because the little rainwater they have is what they drink. So pregnant women suffer severe maternal damages. Many children were born deformed. Many were born blind. Many were born crippled. Many were born deaf. In 2019, we did a study in Delta State, at Kwale precisely, where Ajip and Senegia has their plants. And communities where they are flaring these gases in those areas experience, many of the women there, at least 10 out of 100, claim they experience miscarriages as a result of the water they drink. And several others gave birth to deformed children, and so on. Then we also talked about the spread of cancer because of the pathogenic nature of these chemicals that are injected into the air, mixing with the atmosphere, the air they breathe in, and all of that. Many people suffer cancers in those areas, and these are the result of gas flaring. We come with cancer is also respiratory diseases that many of them also have, because the atmosphere they inhale, the air they breathe in is contaminated, is polluted by methane and other chemical substances that are injected into the air.
According to reports, the economic cost of gas flaring are staggering. According to estimates, Nigeria lost $757.9 million worth of gas in 11 months. However, for Dr. Emeka Okengwu, a development economist, the economic cost of gas flaring cannot be quantified.
It's enormous, like I said to you, but you must be able to also recognize that you must flare gas to produce oil. That's what's important. So what we're talking about now is the gas you're not containing, what economic losses it has. But you can't just be talking about only the economic losses. That's the point I'm trying to make. Because gas flaring is actually part of oil production. But we're talking about now the negative aspects of not being able to contain your flares. all right, and then what benefits you can accrue to a country when you are able to contain them? The answer is in the question. Of course, it's enormous. I've just listed some for you. It poisons your waterways, it spoils your farmlands, it affects. In fact, at one time there was a study they carried out around, those flare areas, and they found out that a lot of the deaths and the people were not even living long. People were beginning to die before they were 65, and it was due to diseases that were related to, internal organ failures that has to do with bad drinking water, bad air they're breathing. In fact, some of the roofs, were getting covered in soot. So it's wide ranging. You can't be able to put any statistics to the cost of life. It's like asking somebody what is the value of life, and then you're looking at something that puts, people's life and people's environment at very, very great risks. So you can't. The question shouldn't be what is the cost. It is unquantifiable. The question should be what benefits can we also get if we're able to contain, some of these gas spraying. Then you can begin to put issues to it. Okay, if somebody dies, what is the value of life? That's what you're asking me. And you can't put a value. When you were born, nobody knew you were going to be this popular. I mean, I'm sure you're bringing a glory to your family name, by being a journalist or something. So if something had happened to you, at what price would they put your life at bet if you had died out of gas flaring? So there is no value, that you can put that will be enough, to quantify it economically or vis-a-vis currency value. But point I'm trying to make is that it is very devastating, okay? Because it touches practically every aspect of our existence and living. The air we breathe, the water we drink, the food we eat, okay? Everything. So it's unquantifiable.
While policies play a crucial role in shaping nations, for Mr. Botti Isaac, the Paris Agreement, an international treaty on climate change signed in 2016 to reduce carbon emissions to minimal, has not been effective in the country.
So the idea of the Paris Agreement is what we call net zero. The net zero agreement is like within a certain period of time, carbon emission should be reduced to minimal. And many countries signed on to it. I think in Nigeria, we target, is it 10% by 2030? But the situation of that, the implication of that is Nigerian government is quick, always very quick to sign on to any agreement. But in terms of implementation, they are not interested. Again, see, one of the things we should be talking about in this era is transition from fossil fuel to renewable or clean energy. That is where the world is going. Worlds are thinking of how do we stop fossil fuel production and move into renewable or other forms of clean energy. But Nigeria, we are not even talking about that. And we sign on to net zero emission agreement that want to reduce carbon emission to 10% by 2030. 2030 is just some years away from here. And we do not have infrastructure to promote clean energy. We do not even have facilities to distribute clean energy if at all we are able to generate some. We do not have intention to stop fossil fuel production because that is where 90% of our revenue is coming from at the moment. So for me, it's about lip service. Government signs on to that. Let's follow the crowd. There's everybody signing the agreement. Let's sign it. That is what I'm saying, because if you look at the preparation, that preparedness is not there to embrace renewable energy, to embrace clean energy, until we begin to see significant effort, first of all, in terms of reduction in fossil fuel production. Every year, our budget is still benchmarked against crude oil production. The West is still coming to invest massively on fossil fuel. And then we say we want to embrace. And exploration of fossil fuel comes with ejection of gas into the air. It is mandatory because when you extract the crude from the ground, it comes with sand, with water, with associated gases. that needs to be separated. And again, we do not have facility to capture those gases, so we throw them into the air. So you can see that we are just joking as a nation. We signed on to Paris Agreement, we accepted, we want to cut down carbon emission, but we are doing contrary.
Gas flaring is a complex issue, but it's not insurmountable. With policy reforms, technology, investments, and a commitment to sustainability, we can reduce gas flaring and promote a brighter future for Nigeria.
So to make certain that you now have your limits. The moment you put in your ESG, that's very, very important to do, so that we now set acceptable limits. And then it's just not a question of policy. It's also important that in putting those policies in place, you now put enforcement. Okay, it's one thing for you to put policy, it's another thing to put an implementation, framework that enforces, that policy. All right. If that is done, the net will be, making certain that people now, pay the ultimate price or pay the prices for any wrongdoing that is done in that. So this is where you now have your M&E. Okay, you must be able to now have a very strong M&E framework that makes certain that you now monitor. But this is where technology again comes in, because you find out that these places that you're flaring these gas, I think about 120 of them are far in between, some of them even offshore, not the places you can drive into. So you need to now apply technology. You're now talking about solutions, right? So that from the comfort of your office, you're able to monitor real time, online, what these activities are. The moment it gets to that point where it's no longer acceptable, it can be now, driving your enforcement component. So first is you must have a policy that is very clear on demands and expectations. Secondly, you must have one that has very strong monitoring and evaluation, components. And third, and most of all, you must be able to make certain that people now, obey, so that you use technology and then you use the law to make certain that people, do what's expected of them.
The future is worth fighting for. Let's work together to end gas flaring and build a sustainable energy future for the nation. We call it a wrap on today's episode of Carbon Footprints. Join us, same station, same time next week, as we continue to explore critical issues shaping our ecosystem. I am Edidiong Ibanga. Do have a blissful weekend.